Time to do some maintenance on the garden. Generally from this time of the year onwards, it's mainly to maintaining all the plants and cutting things back. So the first thing I'm going to show you today is a plant here. Not many people have this one. It's called a Platycodon, and as you can see, it's got these very large sort of bell-like flowers there. Some of them are now over and you have to remove the dead heads, and the way to check which are the dead ones, obviously if they've lost that, you can see with that it's dead because obviously you've got the dead foliage. So we'll cut these off right to the bottom and do to all of them there, all the way along. And the way to tell whether they're dying or just opening is in there you'll see quite a sort of hexagonal shape, I suppose. That is just beginning to open, and as they get bigger they open like that, and then finally they open there like that, and gradually that one is dying off and then they end up like that. If you want to save the seeds you can leave these on, but generally it's not worth saving the seeds. It's better to buy the plant. As I say, not many people see these plants, but they are available. This one's about 3 years old and they die down to the ground for the winter. You sometimes forget where they are, but they come back up again, and then they put on a lovely display, usually the end of July, beginning of August. But I say, if you keep taking all the dead heads off, you will end up with a really sort of quite a nice plant again, and as they die off you can then take them off. They also come in pink and blue. That's another colour we have. So you'll have that colour, pale pink and blue. If you see them for sale, it's worth buying them. Generally they're reduced at this time of the year because people haven't bought them. And as we go around, the phlox, which I showed you earlier on, we did the Chelsea chop. These I didn't cut down, I left them as they are, and as you can see you've got lots of blooms on those. These were cut down a little bit earlier on, so these are the new flowers that are beginning to open. So those will die, these will open, and then gradually I'll trim them. This one here, and again, how to tell whether they've flowered or not. These, when they look like little spiky bits, they've finished flowering. So what you do is you take them down to about there, and you may get another set of flowers in about a month's time, so probably about the end of August possibly, and you keep doing that. You can just see there's some new buds coming there, so you just cut them off there, again there, and this just prolongs the flowering period into sort of possibly September time. So you keep doing that until you've finished all the dead heading. And again, even if you don't get flowers, it does neaten the plant up so that you've got some foliage left for the thing. These were my lilies that have just finished flowering. If you wanted the seeds you would keep that, but they're not worth growing from seed. So what I'll do now is I will cut this down to about there just to tidy them up, and you then let them die down, and then next year they will be sort of able to flower. Again, the lily beetle, you may not have realized, you have to put your hand underneath because that's one in there, and once I move it, it will fall off. So you dispose of it whichever way you feel you need to. I'm afraid I just have to squeeze them. There isn't any alternative. The hemocalyx, the daylilies, which were just, they're all over now, so you end up with just this bare stalk. So if you take that all the way in to the bottom, cut the bare stalks off all the way down, and then you'll have foliage for the next few weeks. If the foliage gets too much, you can actually trim some of them off because it won't do them any harm. So if they're hanging over with all the plants, just literally cut them a bit like that, and you can do that all the way along. And you could, if you wanted to, cut them down to the ground and they will produce some new foliage then for this year, but no flowers. Again, as you can see, these were cut, some were chopped off, some were left, but again you can see that's the last flower on there, and you can always see, try and find it, that one flowers all the way up, but when they finish flowering there's nothing there at all. But the difference between those which are due to flower and those that are finished flowering, you can just about see the little flower spikes. So again, if you take these off, as many as you can, all the way across. I won't do them all now, I shall sort of do some more later on, but you'll have continuous flower right up until the end of the summer. Again, exactly the same there, they're just going over, and as we come around, we'll just see what else needs deadheading. Most of these are just beginning to, those there were cut right down when they did the Chelsea chop, and as you can see they're going to flower probably in about a week's time or 2 weeks time. So there's a different contrast between cutting them right down or just doing a few. And as we go around, just check whether there's anything that needs to be pruned or cut back. Later we'll have this, which is the hibiscus. That'll be completely white, so that's another plant for later on. If you want to be able to see the flowers, which I do, you just cut off the odd leaf there and you'll just see, won't do the plant any harm. And then you've got lots of new buds coming on the top. So when they finish on that side, they will be all white and it'll continue all the way along. So that's a bit of the maintenance for now. I'll have a look around and see if there's anything else that needs doing, and I'll put it on the next video.